know what they say is America's favorite pastime? It's baseball. Baseball began in the United States long ago and has a long history that makes it into what it is today. I enjoy baseball, and knowing some of the history behind it makes you realize what type of sport it actually is. The history of baseball is made up of 3 sections. The first section is the beginning. The second section is the creation of the major leagues. And the third section would be current times. Baseball actually began long ago in a way that many people do not know. Baseball dates back to the 18th century in the United States. It was actually first brought up in 1792 in a court case. This court case was denying people the right to play baseball on school grounds. According to History.com, baseball was actually originated from cricket and rounders. Rounders was actually a game played by British kids at the time. Baseball was mostly played on school yards and on college campuses. The first major team was the New York Knickerbocker Baseball Club, which was created in 1845. One of the main people that created the team was Alexander Joy Cartwright. Alexander Joy Cartwright actually created rules that are still in use today. One of the first rules that he made was that the field was now diamond shaped. Another rule that he made was that there was now foul lines. And then he also said that there was a 3-strike rule, so after 3 strikes you were out. Something else that he changed was the way that you were able to get out. Before you were able to be thrown at with the ball, and if you were hit, you were out. Now this could not happen. Now you either had to be tagged out or you had to be forced out at base. And according to Baseball Reference, their first game was in 1846. Eventually, the National Association of Baseball Players was formed. It consisted of 16 New York teams at the time. But by 1867, there was many more teams. The number went all the way up to 400. The first team that was said to be professional was the Cincinnati Red Stockings. Eventually, because of these new professional teams, they had to have more competitive games. And to have more competitive games, they decided to create the major leagues. When the major leagues began, baseball as we know it also began. The National League was the first one to be created, and this was in 1876, according to PBS. Something that was new was that the game was now club controlled instead of player controlled. This meant that the players could not get up and leave and go to another team just for extra money. They now had to stay for their contract that they signed with the team. Another difference was that the game was now segregated. Before this, it didn't matter who you were, anyone was able to play. The National League mostly controlled the big cities in the eastern United States. In 1890, the American League was created. At this time, it was actually called the Western League, though. The American League caused many disputes, and because of this disputes, in 1903, they created the World Series. Starting in the 1940s, baseball changed into what it is today. In 1947, segregation ended. According to MLB.com, on April 15th, the Brooklyn Dodgers signed a young star named Jackie Robinson. And according to the LA 84 Foundation, he was actually so good that in that same year, he won the Rookie of the Year. After this, the major leagues had to move west. The first team that moved west was the Boston Braves in 1953. After this, many teams saw that there was increased sales out west, and they also began to follow. In 1973, the American League was losing ticket sales, and this was because of better pitching. And because of the better pitching, there was less hits, which meant that less people enjoyed watching the game, so they stopped going. Because of this, they created the designated hitter position. And this did improve batting and did increase ticket sales. The 1970s also introduced new marketing. One of the first things that happened was the creation of cable TV. Teams could now get paid by the cable company to have their show broadcasted onto channels around the United States. Another effect of this cable TV was that they now had more advertising on the field. Bigger companies wanted their names shown, so they put their names on the field, gave the team money, and in turn they got more business because their brand was seen around the United States. With this new marketing, the teams now could play their players more, and they were able to get bigger salaries, which meant that the players actually had to try harder to get them. They had to be able to keep them, and because of this, they had to train harder. A downside of this is that players now started to use steroids to stay up with the younger people. This did create a spike in home runs, which did make the customers and the fans all happy. But it created many new rules that the MLB still uses today to try to get people not to use steroids. After this, you now know most of the main points in the history of baseball. Baseball began long ago and has a deep history that spans hundreds of years that makes it into what it is today. I hope that you enjoyed learning about baseball and how it has transformed into what it is today. Thank you.